Hi, everyone. It's me, Eartha, and welcome to Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast. So, I have a question. Have you ever been sent to the principal's office? Hmm. Well, I have. Well, let me clarify. Um, I have been to the office with my son, and um, that was pretty exciting because when you're there on somebody's behalf, um, the butterflies are really rolling. Before then, I was sent to the principal's office one time in my life, and it was when I was in elementary school. And I think I was in first grade, maybe. But before I started school, I went to a parochial school, a Catholic school. And it was a time when my parents thought it'd be safer for me and my brother to be in a private school. So that's what they did. They put us in a Catholic school. And my mother gave me the talk. Now, all due respect, I love my mother. She smoked, but when she's nervous, she smoked a lot. And she says, Eartha, don't embarrass me. I don't want any calls from any teachers or nuns. Is that clear? And it's like, yes. And it was on the playground, and I wasn't paying any attention, and a little girl was running towards me, and I was running towards a little girl, and I guess in our minds we didn't think to kind of change lanes, and we had a head-on collision, and I had this big knot on my head. And so the nuns took me to the office. I was so scared. They said, we have to call your mother. And it's like, no, don't call my mother. Don't call my mother. That's how much fear I had about going to the office. I'd rather have concussion. But they called my mother, and my mother was like, Eartha, it's okay. It's okay. That's not what I meant. So anyway, I am so, the feeling about going to the office has changed. And I think in our time, in this era of education and children, I think we really need to take a look. And my topic for today is preparing our children for the future. And for us parents, sometimes you may have to go to the office, and that's okay. I have wonderful special guests. I am in Eleanor Kolitz Hebrew Academy, and it has been ranked one of the top schools in Texas. Now, Texas is a big state. So I want you to listen. I want you to come with your questions and your curiosity, because I would like to talk and ask the administrators, what are you doing right? What are you doing to prepare children for the future? And, if you're in a school starting with K and you go through 8, that future is going to span a long, long time. And so the future that this school is teaching, many of us, we don't even have an imagination, but let's start asking some questions. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'd like you ladies to introduce yourselves. Okay. So EKHLA has been ranked like an A, and this is a big state. Parents, if I'm in the parent PTA and I listen to parents, they love this school. I've never seen children run to school. You're in the car line, children are running to school. These are the champions. Okay, I don't know if you all are used to being called champions, but in my eye, I think you're champions. Okay, so maybe we go around the table. We can start where you'd like to start. Okay, and introduce yourselves and your position.
Hi, my name is Tracy Smith, and I'm currently the Vice Principal for Kinder through Second here at EKHLA.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Kathryn Cohen, and I'm the principal of EKHLA, and I supervise the cohort of 3rd through 5th grade on a little more regular basis.
Hi, I'm Simian Jawanda, and I am the Vice Principal of middle school, so grade 6 through 8.
When we're preparing our children to come to school, tell our children, follow instructions, stay in your seat, try not to do anything that's too embarrassing. And then we bring them to you. How do you, starting with kindergarten, how are you starting your children off? Because now it's more of a digital world. How are you adapting your kindergartners and your first graders to this digital society? Because that's the first step, I think, in kindergarten.
So I'll jump in and answer that
Mhm.
kind of globally, and then Mrs. Smith can get a little more detail as the K through 2 administrator. But I think, generally speaking, we're not thinking of preparing the kindergartners for a digital age or necessarily for their future. I think the idea of meeting children where they are every day and being mindful of helping them grow from that point in very small segments is what helps make successful students who then become successful adults in the future. So, in terms of the digital question, there is technology in the kindergarten classroom, there's technology in all grade level classrooms, but we're not figuring out how to optimize technology and optimize the idea of a digital classroom. We're really using it as it's intended, in our opinion, which is supplemental to hands-on instruction, paper, pencil, teaching them how to have fine motor skills, all of the things that are really, really important. We're not jumping over those to kind of keep up with the 21st century idea of technology.
Okay, Tracy.
So to tap onto that, I think one of the biggest things that we kind of meet the kids where they are. So we have students, just like a lot of kindergarten places everywhere, kiddos coming from all different types of backgrounds, the educational experience. So we're bringing them together as a little community. So I think the biggest thing that they really focus on when they come in here into kindergarten is to have them build as a community. So we have a standard set of core values that we teach here, and they really focus on that a lot in kindergarten, learning how to identify their emotions, use their words to express their feelings, not put their hands on people or when they're frustrated. So a lot of the learning in kindergarten is about those things too, learning to get along, how to use your words to talk to a friend, how to express their emotions, but also a lot of times students don't know how to advocate for needs that they have. And so that's one of the building blocks that we have in kinder that we continue to grow with them as they're going through all the way through 8th grade, because that's important no matter what age you're at. So once they've kind of gotten that community established, then we start working on the act.
I heard the word community a couple of times so far. And, it takes more than me to build a community. And there's a digital community, but we'll get to that later. It's probably more in the middle school age because it's getting wild out there. So, when you're building your community and you're teaching the children to use their words and fine motor skills, are you finding that they're lacking anything? Let's say within the last 5 years, maybe 5 years.
Unfortunately, the
Yes.
answer is yes.
Oh, okay. Can you tell us a lot?
Sure. I mean, I think since COVID and the world shut down, and all of a sudden it was the only way to have a community and to participate in school was some sort of hybrid of online or spacing and separation. So it feels like the population or the skill set within the population has kind of shifted since COVID. I think, from my opinion and just my observation, it seems like kids are coming in with a little more sense of isolation, a little more difficulty in sharing, a little more difficulty in using their words, and kind of joke about the idea of iPad kids, and it seems like more and more kids are very savvy with technology, which then in reflection to me appears to mean that they use technology a lot, which I don't know how helpful that is in 2, 3, 4, 5 year olds. I don't know a lot about preschool, but it is my understanding from the ones that we have some sort of relationship with that they're not using technology like that in terms of building skill. So it seems like it's really kind of out of the home that technology is a day-to-day, which is very hard to disengage kids from. And then to get them interested in books that have pictures and holding a pencil and having long sustained periods of time of not being entertained rapidly. So like I mentioned earlier, we use technology in the classroom. They watch a little video on the letter A, they hear its sound, they see pictures that it may be associated with, but it's a very small 30, 45-second video. It is not there to sustain long amounts of time to entertain them. And I think that's been very difficult as educators to pull them away from that, and then try and get them kind of back in a chair with some paper pencil.
Sorry, I was going to say, and even going back to the other question that you had asked, I think we recognize that because they are so digital at home, that we're having to overcompensate with the classic education here to allow them to have those fine motor skills, allow them to have those skill of sitting down in one place, in that patience, and not like the automatic reward system of like I do something and then I get a reward right away. Like that feeling of we've had to compensate for all of that. We're trying to get more classical at school now because it's like for the younger kids, we need to compensate for the fact that they've gotten too much digital outside of school. So I feel like we're trying to balance that.
And not classical in the sense of classical education, but traditional in the sense of old school. We like to call it
old school. Old school is good school. Well, and I'd like to kind of what brings all that together is I know we use the terminology amongst each other throughout the school year was self-regulation. That the kiddos coming in, that lack of being able to sit for a minute or have the patience to work out a problem with a friend or not get frustrated when they make a mistake on their paper. Just self-regulation in general is our teachers have had to focus on it more and more each year over the last couple of years since COVID, and this year too. Each year that they kind of see a different dynamic and the skills that they're going to need to work on with the students when they come in.
So it sounds like this, I'm listening to you and all this mindfulness music, your information is coming. It sounds like that when you say you meet a student where they are at, is in mindfulness, we associate that, or I associate that with accepting someone without judgment. That this is you, and this is where you're at, and let's see if we can kind of grow from that point, rather than that's not the way I was when I was in first grade, and I know your mother or your father wasn't like that. That's that judgment. It sounds like you're taking that away. You just kind of meet the child, meet the family where they're at, and so you have your core values. Can you kind of elaborate on the core values? Because it seems like I see the core values behind Mrs. Smith, and that sounds kind of mindfulness to me. You want to explain your core values?
Sure.
Okay.
So I don't know that you can see them, but we have 6 core values at EKHLA that kind of help drive everything that's done in the classroom, and they were one of the foundations of EKHLA as a charter school. And so, as you can see, they are support, passion, integrity and honesty, respect and acceptance, curiosity, creativity and learning, and repairing the world. And with working with our staff, we are asking them to understand those core values and to professionally accept them as their core values when they are teachers here at EKHLA, fusing that all kind of in the curriculum along with the reading and the writing and the science and the social studies and everything that they're learning in the traditional sense of education. And I think infusing those core values starting in kindergarten and really using the language around them helps students not only become stronger in their academics, but hopefully stronger as just, kind, decent human beings on the planet. It really does take both of those pieces to help someone grow into a very successful adult. And so talking to kids about what it is to be respectful and using the language of respect, or using the language of let's have some integrity when we are taking this test, I think helps fuse those two things together.
I can see how, if they're coming from an environment where instant gratification, has been the reward, and I've heard people go out to restaurants or people go out from places and you got your digital device and we want you to be quiet. So here's the entertainment thing, and so then you bring them into an environment where they have to work at something that's not digital. That's really, you can't put your hands on it. And it's creating a little bit of anxiety, maybe separation anxiety, because now they have to pull on something that they have not been able to build on when they were kind of little, and sometimes, and I'll speak for myself.